The Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom through investing in real estate. We are here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life you love. I'm your co-host, Tresa Todd, founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and author of the book, Without Fear of Her Future.
And I'm Melissa Baker, real estate investor and fitness coach specializing in turning properties from drab to fab. I'm here to help motivate and inspire you to build your dream life because, girl, you deserve it. Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to the Without Fear of Her Future podcast. Today, we are diving into the powerful truth that you are what you decide.
Yes, ma'am.
Every choice we make, big or small, moves us either closer to God's purposes for us or further away. Deuteronomy 30:19 says, I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live. Our decisions are not just about convenience or comfort. They're about obedience, faith, and trust in the one who directs our steps.
Yes.
The power of decision is really the power to align with the divine will of God, and when we choose Him daily in our thoughts, our habits, our actions, we become who He created us to be. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about the power of our decisions and how faith influences the choices we make and how choosing God's way leads us to a life of blessing, purpose, and impact.
Oh, this is going to be so good.
Yes.
You know, so many people think of decisions as isolated events. But every single choice we make, no matter how small, it contributes to the person that we are becoming.
Absolutely.
Literally, we are the sum total of our decisions.
Yep.
If we really think about it, who we are today is just a sum total of the decisions that we have made in our life. So all the way from what we eat at breakfast to the career path that we choose, every single decision leaves an imprint.
Absolutely. It sure does. That's a crucial point, though, is that it's not just the big life-changing decisions like choosing a college or a career path or a spouse. It's just the cumulative effect of our daily choices. For example, deciding to exercise, even just for 30 minutes every day, or choosing to read a book instead of scrolling on social media.
Can I get an amen?
Those seemingly small decisions add up over time to create significant changes.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I always quote this, and I don't know if it's true. I just read it on the internet, and we know how that is. But I read one time that just the decision to make your bed every day, that you have over a 400% chance. Your chance of becoming a millionaire is 400% higher if you make your bed every day. Now, that sounds a little cray-cray.
Well,
But, I mean, I'm going to make my freaking bed every day.
You know what? I heard the same thing. I heard it's because when you get up and you immediately make your bed, you have already accomplished something.
I agree. It's
the mindset.
It is mindset.
Yeah.
And if you are willing to do something as simple as make your bed every day, then you're probably also the type of person that's going to do other things that are going to make a difference. Not hitting the alarm over and over and over. Getting out of bed the minute the
snooze
alarm,
button.
Yes. Here's the deal. You snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
And I think the more that we hit that snooze button, we're telling ourselves first thing in the morning, I already didn't do what I set out to do, because you wouldn't have set that alarm at 6 a.m. if you didn't plan on getting up at 6 a.m. Then you hit the snooze 3 times. You're like, I'm starting the day out as a loser.
You are calling a lot of people out right now because that's so true. I'm a snoozer. I admit I will hit the snooze button. I usually allow for time. So I play mind games with myself. If I plan to get up, if my feet have to be on the floor by 6 o'clock, I'll set my alarm for 5:50.
Okay.
And then I'll snooze once.
Okay.
Now, sometimes I don't always snooze once, because once you snooze once, it's easy to snooze twice. So there's that. But yeah, you're right about that. You're so right about that.
Well, the whole idea that our decisions are creating who we want to be in our life, here's the deal. It's an incremental progress. A single decision might not be very impactful, but consistently making positive decisions in one area of our life is going to really lead to an exponential growth and transformation. Like you're talking about working out.
Yeah.
Working out once isn't going to do anything. Eating right
Yeah.
Once isn't going to do anything. But if you consistently do that, my goodness, you start to see the results and it feels good and your confidence rises.
You know, those small changes, it reminds me of a time I may have told this story before in one of our episodes, but when I was first really getting in shape after I had come through a divorce, and I was very fit. I was very strong. Let me put it that way. I was very strong. I had been lifting and doing everything in the gym, but I hadn't really been taking care of my true fitness, my heart health. And I remember I would get winded going up my stairs, and it really bothered me.
So you weren't doing any cardio.
No, and I looked really fit, but I didn't feel healthy, even though I looked strong. So I decided
You decided.
that I was going to start running longer distances. I was going to run. And I've always loved to run, but I wasn't always into long distances. So I set out and I made the decision, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run to the end of my block, and then I'm going to recover. And I'm going to do that a few times, or I'm going to choose the next block over. And I walked in between, and then I'd run, and then I'd walk, and I'd pick a point. And I increased my running distance. So the first, week or two, I ran to the stop sign. And then I ran past the stop sign down, halfway through the next block. And then I increased to this, 2 blocks down. And literally within about a 3-month time period, I could run 3 straight miles without stopping.
That is awesome.
But it was making the decision, and it was doing small things, just adding a little bitty bit every time I ran to that. But it made a huge difference in my running.
I love it. I love it. So every decision we make, even like the music that we choose to listen to, really has an effect on us.
It does.
The shows that we watch, the books that we read, the people that we surround ourselves with, all of those things are feeding in to who we are.
What is it they say? What goes in comes out.
That's exactly right.
So what you're putting into your mind is what's going to come out your mouth, usually, is how it works. So, Teresa, let's talk about, with those decisions, let's talk about how that directly influences our identities.
Ooh, well, that's good. Our decisions are essentially a reflection of our values and our beliefs. It's a reflection of how we think and what we believe is important. And they reinforce those values and beliefs. The decisions that we make either reinforce that.
Yeah.
So we can say we believe something, but if our actions are not backing that up, that's not what we truly believe.
Right.
So if you're consistently deciding to act with integrity, then you really solidify integrity as a core part of your identity. Yeah. And of course, the opposite is true. If we consistently choose to learn and grow, then we're going to become someone who is defined by curiosity and the desire for more knowledge, which is so powerful. Absolutely. So our decisions are so influenced by who we believe that we are. And then those decisions further script that identity, which is just so good. Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as he thinks in his heart, so is he."
So what you think about yourself is really important.
Yes, it is. Our thoughts are so powerful when it's because our thoughts are what's driving our decisions.
Yep.
Whoa. I heard this saying at a conference that I went to, and literally that's where this topic was derived, but it's not, we are what we decide, not what we feel. Not
true.
what we feel. Because you can feel a lot of ways. I don't feel like exercising. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like making my bed. But it's what we decide. If we decide, I'm a girl that works out. I'm a girl that makes my bed. I'm a girl, and you decide that that's who you are, that it doesn't matter how you feel.
And how much better do you feel when you have made the decision and then you have followed through with the action, like that empowerment that it gives you?
The one thing that I think it does is it gives you respect for yourself.
Yep.
Because the one person that we will let down is ourselves. Again, going back to that silliness of setting the alarm. You immediately, if you hit the snooze 3 times, you let yourself down. And then if you were going to work out, but now you don't have time to work out. Now you've let yourself down again. Well, then you're just going to eat anything you want because you didn't exercise.
Yes.
Now you've let yourself down again. And that just dwindles your confidence. On the other hand, when you decide that you're going to work, you're going to not hit that snooze. You're going to work out. You're going to eat. All of a sudden, on the inside, you begin to respect yourself. You begin to have more confidence. You begin to take on harder things.
Absolutely.
And you begin to just do greater things and have more
Absolutely.
accomplishments.
Yes, precisely. And it's a dynamic process, right? This is where the power comes in. If you're not happy with who you are, you have the power to change by making different decisions, which starts with changing how you think,
Right.
right?
So good.
So
So good.
let's go think changing how we think. And our decisions impacting us. I was talking about running a minute ago, but before that, when I was really fit working out, my decision, I have always joked, I went through a divorce years and years and years ago, and I always said jokingly, of course, that, I had this decision to either go to the gym or go to the bar. Just kind of kidding,
Yeah.
right? But like you have a choice to
That's
make.
right.
And at that time in my life, I chose the gym. They had childcare, so I chose the gym, and that's when I really started working out and getting fit. That one decision that I made during that season of my life is what led me to a women's only fitness facility, which led me to becoming a personal trainer, which has led to that path that my life took. And it
Absolutely.
changed the complete trajectory of my life just because of
So
that one
powerful.
decision.
So powerful. I love that. One of the biggest hurdles for many people is indecision.
Oh, yes.
Indecision. And that's that fear of making the wrong choice, so they don't make any choice at all.
Yeah.
And so, and here's the deal. No decision is a decision.
It is.
And sometimes it's a horrible decision, I'm thinking of somebody that just always has the most difficult time making any decision. And over the course of time, you will waste literally years of your life because you were afraid to make a decision. So don't let that be you. I think about, real estate investing. So it took my sons, I was in the medical field for 25 years. My sons had become wildly successful at real estate investing and kept saying, Mom, leave your job and let us teach you how to invest in real estate. Even though I was watching them have so much success, it took them 3 years to talk me into leaving. I literally wasted those 3 years of my life because of no decision. I would say, I'll think about it. But I wasn't thinking about it.
You weren't really going to.
No, because I was 50 years old. I'm not going to change careers.
Right.
And my goodness, when I finally made that decision, just like you, I just made a decision that, okay, I'm going to leave my 25-year career. I'm going to learn how to invest in real estate, having no idea that would lead me to eventually starting the Women's Real Estate Investors Network, that we would become the largest women's real estate investors network in the nation, and then all the doors that's opened up for not only me, but for literally thousands and thousands and thousands of women. Over 250,000 women have attended a MasterClass where they can learn how to invest in real estate. So, ladies, you have no idea. Don't get stuck in no decision. It's a common challenge, and it's just so important to acknowledge, of course, that fear is a natural part of decision making. And none of us want to make a mistake, but inaction is a decision, and often it's one of the most detrimental decisions. I've even heard that people on their deathbed, their one regret is that they didn't take some risks, that they didn't go do some things. They let fear hold them back, and they stayed stagnant.
Yeah.
So, woo.
Yeah, that's so true. Personally, just to be raw and honest, I've struggled with this a lot in my life. I'm definitely working on my decision-making skills, which means having confidence in your ability to actually think through things and making decisions, even if they aren't perfect. There's mistakes, but like you said, making a decision is better than not. By not making a decision, you're making a decision, and sometimes you just leave yourself to whatever may be, which is not good. So that's definitely something that I'm working on, as well as making those decisions and being confident in them.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Even if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world.
No.
And listen, it's not the end of the world. You're going to bounce back. You're going to figure it out.
Very few decisions are life and death.
Absolutely. So, okay, what are some practical strategies for making better decisions? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's do, because there are a few that have helped me. First of all, clarifying my beliefs and values. So knowing who I really am, what truly matters to me, when I think about my true belief system and my values, it makes making the decisions a little easier, especially the big decisions.
I
You know, if
agree.
you really think about
I
that.
even think about as my granddaughter just went off to college. I was having these talks with her, and I'm like, if you decide right now, like right now, as you go into college, I am not going to drink. It's illegal to drink, and I'm not going to. That's going to make every decision easier if that's who you are to the core.
Yep.
That when you show up at the party, you either leave the party or you just simply you're not even enticed by it because you've decided before you ever entered college,
Yeah.
oh, I don't drink or I don't do drugs. Versus getting in the middle of that and the temptation and you've got peer pressure, it's so easy to fall.
Yeah.
So I think that some things we just make a decision.
You've got to be grounded in your beliefs and
That's
in your
right.
values and know truly who you are to hold on to those. Another one is gathering all the information. Not necessarily making impulsive decisions, especially for significant choices. So I like to research a little bit. I'll ask for advice, and I weigh this even goes to the 2 days ago, I was doing a little shoe shopping, and we're getting into the fall season, and the new Uggs are out. And I was like, do I want the lower ones or do I want the platform ones? I don't really know. What should I do? And I'm sending my daughters pictures, like, which one do I go with? It's not a big decision. It's not life or death. I was like, I just want to, have which one am I going to wear more? So I weighed their decisions or their advice, and then made my
Then you
decision.
do what you want to do.
Then I did what I wanted to do because I kind of knew which way I was going to go on that one. But anyway, small decision.
Yeah. Okay. I love the topic of about not making impulsive decisions. And I definitely agree. Impulsive decisions are usually some of the most dangerous. However, the opposite is not making any decision.
Yes.
So here's what you got to figure out. What's the medium? What is the perfect answer? So here's what I have learned to do. And it's because I'm a pretty fast decision maker most of the time.
You really
most of the time I know, like, immediately, like, oh, I want to do this, or no, I don't want any part of that, or it's usually pretty quickly. But here's one thing that I have done is I will give myself a timeline to make a decision.
Okay.
Instead of because so many times we just leave it up in the air. Whoa. Yeah. We leave it up in the air and months and months and months go by, or a year goes by.
Yes.
And so if we give ourselves a date, like, okay, I'm going to take a week to make this decision.
Yeah.
Or I need to make this decision by Friday. Sometimes you might have a month to make it, if it's a big, whatever it is. But you decide that you're going to make that decision within that time period. Mm-hmm. And then it's no longer an indecision. It's either a yes or a no. Yep. Well, obviously, you and I are going to be praying about that decision. Lord, am I supposed to do this? Am I not? And now you're tuned in. Mm-hmm. To hearing God. Is he leading you that way? Have 5 people also now mentioned this to you?
Yes.
Or have you only heard negative things about it? Maybe that would be, maybe I shouldn't do this. So I think that's been really powerful for me, is to give myself a timeline about the decision and know, okay, God, I need you to, I need to know by Friday if I'm supposed to do this or not.
That is really good advice, especially for the big decisions.
Certainly.
Especially for the big ones. Another one is considering the impact of your decisions. Now, here we're probably talking about more of the bigger decisions in our life, but think about where your decision will lead you in 5, 10, even 20 years. And this goes, again, back to that working out, when back at that time period when I decided to really start working out and working on myself, made that decision, I had no idea where it was going to lead, but I look back now and I think, gosh, if I hadn't made that decision and I hadn't become a personal trainer and I look at the trajectory of my life, where would I be today?
Yeah.
My life could look so different.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what does your decisions, what does the impact look like, short-term, long-term, way in the future?
And you're talking about the big ones. Let's talk about if we would ask ourselves, what is the impact of every decision? Listen, some people that are posting on their social media. They need to think about what is the impact of that. Because sometimes you do things out of anger, or replying to that email out of anger, or sending that text message. Let's just stop and think about the impact.
Yeah.
So many times, if we would have just given ourselves a little bit of time to think about that decision, we would have decided something else.
Mm-hmm. And what is the impact of, let's say, just like self-improvement, all the books that you read? You read a
Oh,
little every day, and I haven't always been a big reader, but I'm reading more now. And just that little bit of self-improvement, that motivation,
girl.
it's big. It's big
Yes.
in who
Well,
you
I
are.
believe reading is one, reading and now podcasts since they came
Yes.
along. Those two things will change your life. If you're listening, to crime podcasts, I mean, which there's nothing wrong with that for a little bit of entertainment. But if you will listen, reading self-development books, reading
Yes.
faith-based books,
Yes.
reading business books, reading health and fitness books, and listening to those same types of podcasts, it will literally change who you are.
Yeah.
And that's a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do most of those things while you're driving and while you're doing other things other than reading. You need to carve out some time for actual reading, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And spending time with your creator.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other,
Most important.
if you're a woman who maybe is a little lost right now, confused, don't know which way to turn, spending time with the one who actually created you. He created each of us for a purpose. He has a plan for us. But if you don't spend time with him, if you don't to hear him, to know what it is, you're going to stay where you are.
Yeah.
So making that one decision to just spend a little time with the Lord every day, in prayer and listening and hearing from him, that's been game changer,
Oh, Melissa,
right?
it's so good. It's so good. I was just reading, I think it was sometime this week, and they're talking about even Jesus got up every single morning and went to have time with his Father. He went and had a prayer life. And the thing that they were bringing out in the book is that he would go out and heal people all day and pray for them and cast out demons, and then he would get up the next morning and do it all over again the next day. But before he did that, he went to prayer every morning. And that was so powerful to me, because here's what, if Jesus had to pray before he went out and started a day, how much more
Do we?
should we? And what kinds of things would be
Absolutely.
going on in our life if we started our every day like that? Not only would we commune with our Father, kind of, touch basing with him, like, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do today? Lead me and guide me. But also, that's our opportunity to kind of plug in with him. That's where our power source is coming from.
Yeah.
So that we can have a word to speak, of encouragement to speak. But if we're so messed up ourselves, and we never have a word of encouragement for anybody
No.
else. As a matter of fact, we'll tend to drag people down instead of lifting them up.
Absolutely. If you're listening, ladies, to this and you're not one that spends a lot of time in prayer or in the Word, I just want to encourage you, just, make that decision to start today, even if it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes can be life-changing when you're with the Father, whether it's reading the Bible or just sitting in silence talking to him, it's a game changer for sure, for sure.
And then there are so many examples throughout the history of people making decisions that clearly shaped their destiny.
Yeah.
And generations to follow, because our decisions are not just about us. If we talk about the decision, to become a real estate investor, this decision is about so much more than yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully you're going to get out of debt, and maybe you'll be able to quit your 9 to 5 and all that. But now you're also, your kids get to see you as an example. You can share your specialized knowledge with them. You begin to get a financial education that you pass on to your kids. And then you're also passing on properties.
Yes.
And it's literally changing that next generation. Or we can stay in fear and just decide to keep doing what we're doing. And that's, again, what our kids see. We're not having any effect on that next generation.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about your decision alone to become a real estate investor, yes, it's changed your family and so many women because of the network. But let's think about the people you've helped. How many people, because you decided to become an investor, did you show up at their front door and say, I have a solution to your problem? You can't even number them all,
right.
probably. So many people who needed what
That we're
you
facing
had.
foreclosure or
Yes.
something. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
So your one decision to become a real estate investor has impacted thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands.
So, yeah, we've got to think about that, because so many times we don't. We just think about ourselves. We stay in our little bubble. We stay in a small, little, fearful world of, what if I make a mistake? What if I fail? Listen, girl, what if you do? We all have.
Dust yourself off and try
Get
again.
back up and do it again.
That's right.
Do it again. It's so, so good. so many decisions, you can just think about in the Bible, think about David out in the field. He was just the shepherd boy, but he learned how to fight and to protect those sheep, not knowing that decision, because every shepherd boy isn't going to do that.
No.
But he
No.
learned, and then he eventually was able to beat the giant, take down Goliath, which is literally what promoted him into being a king.
Yep.
So it's every decision that we make. It's not just about us.
It's not. One of my favorite ones, as you're talking about Bible stories, that a decision had great impact is the rich young ruler.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with that story, he had all the wealth that you could imagine, but he was asked to give it up for the Lord, and he couldn't do it. He decided no.
He decided no.
And
no telling, because you can't outgive God.
No.
And he just given it all up. There is no telling what God would have done. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
I
because
know.
He decided not to.
Yeah.
So thinking about the pivotal decisions in the Bible, even historical figures in our world today, often made in the face of immense pressure, completely altered the trajectory of their lives, and in some cases, the world. So on a more relatable level, though, let's consider someone who decides to leave the comfort of an unfulfilling job to pursue a passion. That single decision, while scary, can often open up a world of opportunity and lead to far more satisfying life, and even lead someone into their future purpose.
It's life-changing when you think about how one courageous decision can lead to a profound transformation in your life.
Yeah.
And, those are the kinds of decisions that our students are making. They're taking a leap of faith to say, hey, I'm going to become a real estate investor. And, it can change, again, we've already talked about it, but their life and the lives of their children. And my question is to you, what decision are you procrastinating? Maybe you're thinking about it, you're praying over it. It doesn't even have to be a big decision to be impactful, but make a decision.
Yeah.
And I'll have to share this scripture with you that if you've been around me for long, you've heard it a million times, and it's Joshua 1:9, whereas have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And that is the scripture that caused me to say yes to leaving everything I knew behind and becoming a real estate investor. And that has just propelled me on and on and on. And so I think today somebody needs to know that there's some courageous decisions that you need to make that's literally going to transform your life. And don't stay small. Don't let your fear stop you.
What is it they say? If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
That's right.
So how many of you how many of you want change? How many of you are tired of the same o, and you need that change? So as we wrap up our discussion, I want to thank you for joining us today. We've seen the choices we make aren't just about today. They shape who we become and where we're headed. God's word reminds us in Galatians 6:7 that we reap what we sow. Every decision is a seed, and it will produce a harvest in our lives.
Man.
So here's our challenge to you this week. Pause before you decide. Ask yourself, does this choice draw me closer to God's will or pull me further away? Am I choosing fear, comfort, and convenience, or am I choosing faith, obedience, and trust in the Lord? Remember, you are not the sum of your circumstances. You are the sum of your decisions in light of God's promises. Choose Him daily. Choose life. Choose purpose. And watch how your destiny begins to align with His best for you. Until next time, we bless you. Be brave and dream big. Listeners, if you're aiming for financial freedom, dreaming of designing a life you absolutely love, or just curious about how real estate can transform your future, you're in the right place.
Yes, ladies, if that sounds like what you want, our masterclass is the key. It's easy to understand, super straightforward, and packed with all the secrets you need to start investing in real estate confidently and successfully. Why wait to build your dream future? Join us and let us make your dreams a stunning reality.
Just click the masterclass link in the notes below.
And we can't wait to begin this journey with you.